at Socket, who has been around in this industry for far longer than that with other products. But we're going to be delving into the new announcement by Socket and Adfin about their integration. Now, Socket and Adfin are relatively new players in this market, but before I dive and try and explain what they do, I'm going to hand it over to Jonathan, who is going to be able to do this far better than I can. Nice to have you on, Jonathan.
Thanks, Ryan. And I love that pitch. You've practiced that a few times, I can tell.
I have, yeah. I'd sometimes say it too fast now and I just stumble over the words.
Right words, wrong order.
Exactly.
So let me kick off. I'll start off by kind of explaining what Socket is. So effectively with Socket, what we're trying to do is give you that standardization of pricing, so that it really then means that anyone in the practice can create a proposal. Off the back of the proposal, you've got a letter of engagement, and then having that all in one place and giving you a really easy way to manage your proposals and changes. You can do your billing, and then if you've got a bill, you need to get that kind of collected. And I think that's where Adfin comes in, and we're kind of teaming up to give you a seamless way of getting paid and the flexibility. So it's not like your traditional Go cardlesses where you can just collect via direct debit. It gives you facility of direct debit, card, and also bank payments. And we found that in my own practice, having only one of those is a bit of a challenge. So we've always struggled to get directors to pay because they don't want to do a direct debit. Adfin gives us that functionality of doing all payment methods.
Yeah, and I've been in discussion with Adfin over the last few months. The nice thing, or a few nice things, one is it's incredibly easy to set up because I've brought it in for digital transforms. And you're not essentially committed to doing it. You can use it as you want on a client by client basis. And I assume that the way you're going to be working with them is to work in that same way, right? So that it keeps and maintains that flexibility. So talk a little bit about then how you've kind of designed and built this integration from Socket into Adfin.
Okay, perfect. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to enable a user to stay in a single kind of like workflow. So what we want to be able to do is you've captured your lead, you've created a proposal, you send that proposal to them. So what we want to be able to do with a new client is they're going to sign. How do we then navigate them across to Adfin so they can complete a direct debit? And this is where we've gone deeper than we have done in the past, because physically what we're doing is we're almost like handing you across to Adfin to complete that mandate, and we know that it's been completed. So we're getting that kind of confirmation that a direct debit mandate is in place, and then everything else then is all joined up. So we've created a contact in Xero, we've mapped it all across so everyone knows exactly who it is in each of the systems. So therefore, when it comes to billing, we know which templates to use, we know the payment terms, we know how to collect it. It's just done. It's kind of seamless. And it also gets us around some of the kind of limitations of things like in the API. So if we want to send invoices out from Xero, we can't attach a PDF, but actually we've solved that problem by teaming up with Adfin, because they will nicely send a PDF invoice out. And we're seeing people are doing that by not only sending it to the client, but also sending it to Dext, Apron, etc. So again, it's just a really nice way of joining up that workflow. And we're all about how do we make it as easy as possible.
Nice, yeah, because that is essentially what I've been working with my customers on. You know, with what I do from a digital transformation point of view, hopefully they're all on these kind of data capture tools. That's essentially what I'm, guiding them into doing. So I send my invoices directly into those tools, so it makes sense to do that. And it sounds like then you have, from a client journey or customer journey perspective, you've got it where they're onboarding through you, and they go through and take the payment or enable their payments. And then do they get sucked back into your platform from a confirmation, or that's just the end, is it?
No, so absolutely. It's almost like halfway through our workflow, there's almost this kind of like seamless integration where they'll complete something in Adfin. And I guess from a client perspective, they almost don't know that they've gone into a different system. We've
Oh,
created,
so it's still branded as like a socket kind of.
yeah, so it's still within the Socket platform that you
Got it.
will go across and you will complete it, and then as soon as you've completed it, you'll be navigated back to Socket. So it's almost kind of like creating as slick a workflow as possible, because when it's clunky, if we get someone to do it afterwards, they'll forget, etc. But it's almost that bit of, we've got the excitement, they've seen the proposal, they're excited, let's do everything. And then it's not you having to chase afterwards to say, hey, Ryan, great that you've signed the proposal. Now, can you do the direct debit mandate? It's all in one. And we know that it's done. There's no, previously it was an honesty box. So there's this honesty box of, yeah, honest Gov, I've completed the form.
You have to go manually check it. Now it like flags it in the system, right? So the person that's going through that journey, the client onboarding manager, assuming you've got one in your firm, can see all that directly inside the system. Don't need to chase. Do you have automated reminders on any of this, or flags if people haven't signed the mandate or have kind of skipped that step?
So they physically can't sign the proposal
Oh,
until
oh,
they've
I
done the
see.
approval.
Without doing it. Oh,
So, so,
brilliant.
so it is that bit of, you have to do it. Again, within Socket, we've got reminders. So again, we will remind clients, you've got an outstanding proposal, please sign it. And what we've also done as well is, if you've got a client that hasn't got a direct debit mandate in place, we will flag that as part of the workflow. So when you go through and you'll create a new proposal or a change for them, we physically know whether that client has got a mandate in place. And so we are constantly kind of talking to Adfin. And so we've
Brilliant.
got that knowledge. So it's a way of you encouraging more of your clients to sign up to a direct debit mandate. Because if I go back to, from an FT Works perspective, yes, the majority of our clients, we had direct debit mandates in place, but the team didn't really know. Whereas we've now got all of that knowledge within Sockets, so that as you go through the workflow, it's very kind of clear within the app to say, Ryan hasn't got a mandate. Do you want to ask him to complete a mandate as part of the workflow?
Yep.
So we're bringing things front and center. And again, we've got that kind of knowledge of what the configurations are in different systems. And this is something we've worked really hard with in Socket, of how can we tell you what other systems you are integrated with, and how can we give you a, we call it deep links, of being able to jump from Socket to Zama, Socket to FYI or Carbon. We're giving you that way because we know that if it's difficult, things don't get done. So we're just trying to
Yep.
make it as simple as possible.
Cool. I want to come on to those integrations in a minute, but before I do that, I've got a couple of, I guess, technical questions that have come to my mind. Now, when I've worked in a very traditional practice, and because of that, there was that reluctance to bring clients into direct debit. So you had to do it in a soft rollout. So have you got different pathways that you can send them down, where you're basically going, we want them to be on the direct debit, so it forced them to do it, or we want them to go down this other route where it doesn't force that, and you can kind of, okay, brilliant.
So absolutely. And I'll kind of come back to my own practice. And as I say, we are like, I'd say 99% of our clients are on direct debits. The bit where we had issues was with directors and around self-assessments. So they didn't want to sign up to a direct debit, which they used once a year. So we would constantly kind of chase them. What we're able to do now with Adfin is we're able to kind of give them an alternative way of paying.
Yep.
So Adfin still manages the process for us, but what they're doing is they're sending out the invoice, and then they're saying, hey, Ryan, here's some alternative ways to pay. And
Yep.
you can use Apple Pay. So it's that ability that you can send it straight to a kind of client, they're logging on, everyone knows how to pay. I'm saying everyone, 99% of people will know how to pay with Apple Pay. It's there in front of you, you can do it. And we're seeing this year the kind of the payment, the collection has improved. So you can pay by card, but you can also then use kind of like a direct payment. So
Okay.
you've got the three options, and for me, having everything under one roof is 10 times better. Otherwise, it's when it comes to reconciliation, which is done for you by Adfin, it's almost like which
Yep.
systems. It's confusing. This just simplifies the whole lot.
That makes sense. So then the other technical question I've got is possibly unique to me, but I have seen it in larger firms where they start transitioning to a monthly figure covering software, support costs, maybe some basic compliance. But then they've got some ad hoc large fees. And when I've looked at working with GoCarless in the past, it was like you had to either put the client fully on direct debit because from a workflow perspective, it didn't really work separating, or you had to not put them on it at all. Does, I guess, the way you and Adfin work mean that you can have a client that has two different pathways depending on where you put the invoice, or does it force them down one route?
Right. So in Socket, we have the facility of being able to select different frequencies within the same proposal. So in your scenario there, where you've got, let's say, year-end accounts are billed on completion, and then you've got the monthly kind of collection, we're able to kind of configure that within Socket so that the monthly bill goes out when you completed the work. You can push a button and that'll generate an invoice in Zero. At the moment, we don't have that kind of configuration of being able to say, collect that via one method, collect that via another method. But it is something we're kind of talking about in terms
Yeah.
of, so the classic is the onboarding fee. So you've got an alignment fee. Let's keep it easy and say it's £600, and you want to
Yep.
spread that over 3 months. What we want to be able to do is to give you that ability in app, so within Socket, to be able to turn around and say, can I collect this over 3 months, or can I collect this over 6 months? And what I think both ourselves and Adfin are very keen is that we keep you in Socket. So it's then not this case of having to jump out to a different system to set something up. It's almost like, when you're in that flow, how do we give you the ability to be able to do it? So that part of it's not here right now, but it's something that we are keen to look at doing. And the rate of change, the rate of development that we at Socket are doing, but also the rate of change that Adfin are doing, I'd be very, very confident that these types of things will happen. We're not the dinosaurs. We're not moving at a snail's pace. We are kind of like flying. And if you look at Socket in a month, there will be new features in there. And it's exactly the same from an Adfin perspective. It's
Yep.
been really interesting watching us kind of build. We've got shared Slack channels. Something happens, the team are just kind of like, can we jump on a call? So it almost feels as though it's one team. And I think
Yeah.
that's
Working
why we
collectively.
were really excited as to why we wanted to do this integration.
That makes complete sense. And you've just made the announcements. There's always going to be kind of initial launch and then iterative changes over time. And you say about how quickly you're developing. I mean, it feels like you've been around, both of you have been around forever, but realistically, you've only been around for just over a year yourselves. And Adfin, I think, maybe 9 months. So you've done so much. And going back to the integration side, talk me through who you currently integrate with now, because I know there's been like a plethora of those that you've built over the last kind of 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, so from a practice management perspective, Zero, XPM, FYI, and Carbon. So those are the ones where we've got a kind of a deeper integration, and so you can sort of see records from source system in Socket. We've also got Zapier, which extends lots of the others. So, for example, Pixie, Center, people are still kind of using Zapier around that, Accountancy Manager. So we've got that. Zama from an AML perspective. And so again, if you're using Engager, you can see your clients via Zama in Socket. We've got webhooks, which is a really interesting way of kind of getting information out. I've mentioned kind of Zapier, Zero, QuickBooks. So they are kind of coming thick and fast. And a lot
Yep.
of it is based on the feedback that we're getting from our kind of users in terms of, we really like it. Can you help to join it up? And we're constantly kind of going through that iterative process of how do we build deeper and deeper into it. Um, and we've done some really kind of, I'll call it fun things. So for example, within our leads module, so we felt as though proposals started too early, and we wanted, sorry, started too late in the process.
Yep.
And so we've created a leads module. We've done a really nice integration there with Zama, so that we can see the company structure, so you can dive straight in as
Okay.
part of the getting to know the client discovery phase. We can see the company structure, we can see who the directors are. Not only is that nice from a risk assessment perspective, but it's really nice from a, are there opportunities here? Who's looking after your self assessments? I can see there's a company structure here. We haven't talked about it. So there's some really kind of nice use cases of not just being a boring integration. We want to kind of go deeper and deeper and
Yeah. Do more
deeper
with it.
to
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of join it up. And so that for me is the exciting bit. I've sat here as an accountant, been quite frustrated for a long time. So it's quite nice to be able to kind of tick that off. One thing I didn't mention, we've got a really nice integration with Google Sheets as well. So
Okay.
a big fan of kind of Google Sheets. So we've got a really nice
See,
integration with that.
the more people I talk to, the more people that love Google Sheets. Yeah, I'm still an Excel fan, so I'm old school.
The dinosaur. Try it.
I
Try
am,
it.
yeah. I'm the kind of person Stuart Hurst hates. That's what it sounds like to me.
Show us
The
your arms.
I
Show us your arms, Stuart.
Yeah, I do have very tiny arms. And dinosaurs didn't have real much hair either, so I kind of fit that.
What
The
dinosaur would you be, Ryan?
What dinosaur? I'd probably be one of those little ones that avoid conflict. That tends to be how I work as a human. So I think that's what I'd be. I wouldn't be a velociraptor or T Rex. I'm more the ones that hide and then come out. But the mammal. Oh, we've gone down into in Jurassic period now. I'm going to get away from science because I'll just start going down that rabbit hole. But look, you've done a lot since it launched, and I think you've had a few things that have like potentially helped in that. Go Proposal has gone through a bit of a change in the way they've worked with their community. So I guess, what is the future of Socket looking like for you? Like, is it that you want to just keep evolving the functionality? Are you going to try and move out, as you said, into different areas? Like you're touching on a bit of CRM by kind of bringing in a leads module. So are you going to expand the breadth of what it does, or just go deeper and deeper and into like the core focus, which is all about proposals?
So I think at the moment it's all about going deeper. So there's definitely areas where we're seeing big weaknesses. So around the CRM piece, we're seeing that yes, lots of firms have got a CRM, but they're used badly. It's
Yep.
used really kind of badly. So we think there's a really nice opportunity of almost like joining it up. So how can you get a lead from your website that comes into Socket, and then we can manage it all the way through. We just think there's an awful lot more to be kind of done. How can we make it? How can we make our proposals look more beautiful? How can we do like the whole monitoring? So we've kind of touched a little bit around price monitoring. And if you think about, a lot of firms out there have got 0 subscriptions. So we give you the capability of being able to load in your the detail behind your 0 invoice, and then we check that against the proposals, and then we'll tell you where you're not charging the right price. We've also got things in there like bulk adjustments where, again, take 0's price rise. How can you within 15 minutes reprice your entire kind of client base? You can do that in Socket. So we think there's an awful lot more to be done around getting kind of deeper and deeper into the whole kind of like proposal. And
Yep.
like my view is still like the proposal should drive absolutely everything that you do within your practice.
Yep.
So there's plenty of kind of opportunity of really bringing it to life. We've not touched on reporting yet, and there's loads of stuff we can do there, not only around the kind of historic, but also, well, what does this look like in terms of,
Yeah.
um, if you're going to win that work, what does your business look like in 6 months' time? And
Yep.
I still think that too many firms out there aren't aren't making enough money, and I don't think we've really kind of touched on how do you do pricing properly so that you are making money. And I think that comes back to like the whole private equity bit. I think people are selling their firms to realize cash, whereas actually
Yeah.
I think
They could be making the money now.
they should be making the money, and that's what I like. I've got a bit of a personal mission here of like, how do we change the industry? And I
Yeah.
think Socket's a fantastic platform to do that with. So yeah, we're not
Yeah.
going anywhere fast.
And I think there's some other areas that you touched on here. You said about reporting. I think there's a big weakness, just not in accountancy, but pretty much every sector. In you can do forecasting with actual figures, but you can never bring in kind of your pipeline. It's like really hard to take that in. So being able to connect, your systems into forecasting tools at some point would be great. And I've always liked looking at the conversion like metrics. So you get the proposal and you send that out, but then what happens following that? And you've got the likes of, if you take credit control, there's the likes of Chaser kind of pioneered that auto chase and the auto follow up where you design what that looks like. And a similar process in the proposal. Oh, go.
Adfin have nailed that though. So Adfin will also do your kind of credit control as well. So
Yes, they do. Yeah.
again, we didn't touch on that, but that's another like big tick in the box of like, you'll get paid. Like they'll chase, and it's almost like they will chase in different kind of channels.
Ways.
So
Yeah.
it's not just about email; it's about kind of text, WhatsApp, etc. Like, and we need these things. Like, what's the point of us wasting time on tasks which shouldn't exist?
Yeah.
Control to another one. You talked about like the whole billing piece, the amount of people that are using repeating invoices, and then you've got a big disconnect between between your proposal and your
Yeah.
bills. We've stripped that
Join that
out
up. Oh, okay.
because you do it once, and I think so much of what we should be doing is, how do we do something once, do it incredibly well, and then there's a flow. And I think that's what we're trying to do at Socket. That's what Adfin's trying to do. And then it's about joining it up so that, yes, you might have different platforms, but they talk really well to each other.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to see this. And I know that we've been talking back and forth about Digital Transformers Group using Socket. And I was always waiting for that little bit of functionality to come into Namely to do it, so we can pick up on that offline. But the one thing that I wanted to do, if you don't mind, when I've got you on, which is a bit cheeky, is talk a little bit about the Digital Disruptor Awards, because I know you were a big part of it last year. In
This
having
one,
your that one. There you go. In taking the trophy,
well,
but you also you've just got how many? Like, it's just you need a shelf for these. But you also attended the event last year, and it'd be really good to hear, I guess, from you what you thought of that event. Like, was it something you would encourage people to attend for the 2025 awards, for example?
absolutely. Like, I think there's a real community that we work in, and I think there's some amazing people that it's a great night just to kind of come and relax and spend time with nice people. And I think, don't underestimate a lot of those conversations. And that's what like keeps me excited. That's what gets me going to a lot of the kind of the shows, etc. Is just meeting the people. And I think there's a sense of, it's light-hearted, there's a bit of fun, but actually it's also really, really nice to kind of celebrate. And it's nice to be around that energy when people do win awards. Then there's this whole kind of like excitement. So yeah, I'd say come. Don't even think about it. It's a great night out. It's a great warm up.
Yes, it is. And the thing that we've always tried to do is not make it formal. You know, I've been to so many awards nights. You're sat on the table with the people you go to. You only speak to those. You go through all the awards, and then everyone just wants to go home. Whereas, like at our event, actually, the awards felt kind of secondary to all the networking and the entertainment, and yeah, just the chats people were having, and that's what I loved about it. Um,
Absolutely. And I think for me, it's the whole fun theme to it. So where did it start? I guess it started with axe throwing, didn't it? It's almost that
yes, it
bit
did.
of, well, there's a lot of people all together in one place the night before an event. Let's get together. And for me, that's the whole kind of bit of let's get together. It's a way of getting to know someone. If you're a little bit kind of apprehensive about attending some of these kind of shows, for me, it's that bit now that I can walk in and I know that I'll know someone. And
Yep.
so for me, again, it's part of it's around confidence. You know people that you can kind of walk in, and you will also develop those relationships that you can have conversations with people outside. And it's almost that bit
Yep.
of I know that I can reach out to a lot of the people that I've met at the different awards events that you've put on, and I know that I can ask a question and I'll get a really helpful response back.
Yeah, everyone, you know, they want to help, right? We want to help each other, and we're so excited, I guess, about the space that we're in that a lot of the time, as you've probably experienced from talking to me, Jonathan, is that you just kind of want to just keep talking, and so actually, it's harder to shut people up rather than get them to talk about what they're doing.
So Ryan, where can people find out more about the awards then?
So they can go to the Digital Disruptors LinkedIn channel, and then basically find one of the recent posts. There is a link in there to basically apply to the waitlist. We will be releasing the ticket soon, but if you're on the waitlist, you're going to be notified about it first, so you can secure a ticket. There are only a set amount of tickets because we have gone with the same venue. It's a small and very intimate venue, which
Great.
helps with those conversations. So we want to make sure that the right people, the people that have attended in the past and want to attend this year, get first choice to do so. We're going to be offering discounts to accountants as well, because we really want to see as many accountants. Although it's a digital awards, we want to see people there because, as you say, those conversations really thrive where you've got a good balance in the room. But we also absolutely critical at this stage is we want your nominations. The entire awards work in a way that you can't apply for yourself. You have to nominate someone else and then put the reasons that you want or you believe that they should be nominated. The judges deliberate on that and select it based on the criteria that is applied for those awards. So if you want or you feel that someone deserves an award this year, please do find a nomination form, put down your entry. Because if you don't do it, there's a chance that someone will win it, that there's a better candidate out there.
And then you'll be sat there going, "What?
Exactly.
They won it?" And
Yeah.
that could have been you, or that could have been someone that you wanted
Someone
to
you know.
win it.
Yeah, and we've had it. It was like last year we had some great nominations and some great award winners such as yourself, Jonathan. So yeah, it's something we're excited to do. It's the pinnacle of our year. It's Digital Disruptors, and yeah, we're building up to the night before Caltex North again, 22nd of September. It's going to be a big one.
Fantastic.
Cool. Look, thanks so much for coming on, Jonathan. It's been great learning more about what you're doing with Adfin and the partnership that you two have, not just now, but what you're building into the future with the deeper integrations. If you do want to know more about both Socket and Adfin, please do comment in this, what will be LinkedIn post, but event, and Jonathan and the Adfin team will be able to follow up with you and talk to you more about the product.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for your time.
No worries.